Just joining us, we are speaking with Real Kid Poker Danny Negreanu, and we're talking about this. I guess you could call it a controversy, and now we have Real Kid Poker Danny Negreanu on the line. Daniel, all right, start from the beginning there because you were going in and out a little bit. What do you make of this hand, and do you agree with Phil Ivey? Do you believe that she just misread her hand?
Okay, so first and foremost, it's important to note that in a case like this, cheating is possible, right? The question is it likely? Or is it absolute? I don't think we can get to absolute. The only person that knows for certain, is Robbie herself. Mm-hmm. Having said that, to echo sort of Phil Ivey's view, she had Jack 3 on the very previous hand, right? And if we use like Bayesian theory, which is to suggest that like what is more likely statistically, people misread their hands all the time. Phil Ivey, one of the greatest of all time, in the main event of the World Series, threw away the winning hand on the river because he misread his hole cards. He didn't see that he had a flush.
Right.
So if Phil Ivey can do it, a lot of people can do it. What is rare is the idea of cheating. So this is a controversy because it's really been the most intriguing hand because you have a lot of different experts that it's totally apolitical that have different views on this. Some believe strongly that she did cheat. Others, are on the other side of the coin. And we've never quite seen the poker world ever, and I've been in it for 30 years, quite as split as they are on this exact situation.
Okay, so let's go through this for a moment. Here's why I don't think she cheated. If she was cheating, then people are insinuating she knew what Adelstein's hole cards were. If that's the case, why would she have played the hand that way? And if she can see his hole cards, wouldn't she have picked a better spot? Why would she have let it go to showdown?
Okay, so you're making one of my arguments, which I've made many. But listen, the ways in which someone can cheat in this regard are multiple, right? And some could be as simple as getting a signal that you're ahead on the turn. Other possibilities are that you're just going to win the hand. So if you're going to win the hand. And now if you talk about a player like Robbie, who's not a professional, she's been around the game for a couple of years, but she's, not a high-level player.
She's not a good, right. No. She's not a great player.
Right. But here's the thing. If I made this play, if I heard this hand without the added ramifications,
you wouldn't.
My first thought would be this player either cheated or saw my hole cards in some way. So that's normal and natural, a reaction from Garrett. What I think gets out of line is making the accusation without any concrete evidence, and then for him to sort of be willing to take back the money because, she was flustered and gave him the money back. And now a lot of people pointing to, well, if she was innocent, why would she give the money back?
Well,
okay, listen. Yeah. How many people do we know that are innocent of a crime, under interrogation, admit to a crime they didn't commit? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And in this case, she is wealthy. Her husband is wealthy. They have money. So under pressure, it could be as simple as, screw it. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Take your money back and let's move on and play.
Listen, she had the right to do that, Daniel, but I thought it was a mistake to give the money back. Now, if this was somebody that didn't have the money that she and her husband had, no chance they give the money back. But when you give the money back, it makes it appear like you're guilty. I believe that she's not a very good poker player. She made an asinine call. Even if she believed she had Jack 3, most professionals, I don't believe, would make a call like that. She didn't. She had Jack 4. She won with Jack High. I thought Adelstein was a little bit out of line. Now, I remember back in the day, Daniel, you remember this. You were in the cash game, the high-stakes cash game, and I think it was season 1. And I think people at the table, in a laughing way, accused Freddie Deeb of going south. You remember that episode, right? But that was joking. You guys were joking. You weren't even serious. You saw how angry Freddie Deeb got. I think one of the worst things you can do in poker is accuse somebody of cheating when you don't have any real evidence. You saw how angry Freddie Deeb got. She obviously is not taking it that seriously, or I don't think she's angry because quite frankly, I'm not sure she even cares. But I think most poker professionals would take that very seriously if someone accuses them of cheating.
Yeah, no, you're definitely wrong on that.
Really?
She cares. She cares.
Okay.
She cares a great deal. She's been going on every podcast, talking to everybody, which, again, is another sort of train of evidence. Any sort of cheating allegations we've had against people that we found guilty, they hid. She's not hiding. She's out there. Mm-hmm. She's trying to explain, her thought process. And I think a lot of people are getting muddled in the details of her justifications. Here's what often happens, and I've trained and taught a lot of beginning players. And, when you essentially, in a moment, either A, say you played poorly or you cheated, the first reaction someone's going to have is to get defensive. And that's what she did. she started to, make some comments about why she played, and they made no sense whatsoever. So some people are saying, oh, she lied, she had a 3, then she didn't say she had a 3. None of that matters, because in this situation, under pressure, if you're not eloquent and you're not a high-level poker thinker, you're not going to be able to explain. She kept saying the word, I had the blocker, And in this case, it's like, that's a buzzword that professionals use when thinking of game theory, but she didn't understand the depths of it. No. So none of that for me, rings as evidence. Some people are pointing to, something she may have had in her pants, which could be lighting. There's no concrete evidence that she may have. It is possible, but I question if she was cheating, why only on this ridiculous hand when she was an underdog? Why only in this spot would she also choose to run it 2 times? Now, for those that don't understand what that means is, in a typical poker hand, when you play cash, people put all the money in. They say, here, do you want to do the river 2 different times and basically split the pot in half? If you knew you were going to win, you wouldn't do that.
Of course not.
So there's a lot of it now, but there is a lot of circumstantial evidence going both ways, and some reasonable people have different views on this. I don't think anyone saying she 100% cheated is correct, and I don't think anyone saying there's 0% chance is correct.
And clearly,
it is somewhere between 0 and 100.
And clearly, maybe she doesn't understand the game as well as others when she says, I thought you had ace high. And then Adelstein says, well, if you thought I had ace high, then why did you call with jack high? Which is a very legitimate question. I don't think that's because she was cheating. I think that's because she's not a very knowledgeable poker player. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so moving forward, Daniel, the casino is going to investigate this. How are they investigating it? I'm imagining they're going to be questioning a lot of different things. How will we know for sure? I guess that's my question.
I will say unequivocally right now, we will never know for sure. Never. Whenever these sort of investigations happen, right, the idea that you're going to find reliable, concrete evidence in this case, I think, is minimal. I think what the poker world and the poker community is going to be doing now, and, what's similar to what they did in the previous cheating scandal we had with Mike Postle, is comb over every hand she played and look for any sort of indications or patterns that she may have been cheating. Now, up to this point, we haven't seen anything. We've seen some goofy things from her. We've seen her make mistakes where she calls with the worst hand. She lost pots here and there. There's no evidence of another hand like this where she made this crazy call. I do find it problematic, though, that the mainstream, and I know much of your audience is mainstream, is trying to turn this into sort of like a sexist issue, because it isn't. If this was a man, people would be more convinced that she cheated, not less.
No, it has
and
nothing to do
also,
with
we have some mainstream people who don't understand poker, framing it as, men upset because woman outmassed the pro.
Okay.
That's not what happened here.
Well, those people are idiots. They know nothing about poker.
They're idiots, but these are people that are PhDs and MIT students. They're in college right now, and they're being trained and taught to look at every possible situation and say, this must be sexism, racism, ageism, ableism, or whatever ism you can figure out. That's just how their brain works.
Listen, I know people that have graduated from Harvard that are huge MAGA supporters, so don't get me started with education, meaning you're intelligent when it comes to certain things, whether it be poker or politics. But, who knows? Okay, so moving forward, we'll have to see what the investigation brings out. I think we all basically agree here. She probably either misread her hand or just played the hand terribly because she's not a great poker player. But let me ask you this. Do you think Adelstein should give her the money back? What do you think he should do?
Well, first and foremost, I don't think he ever should have had the money.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
And, of course, I do think he should have given the money back. Now, a lot of people are questioning, like I said, why would you give the money back if you were innocent? And now picture the moment, right? For a second, imagine she's in this back room with Garrett saying, you screwed up. You're in big trouble. You know what you did. This is going to go viral. Now, this is a guy with the production manager there. She's new to the show. Maybe she wants to play on the show. As I said, she already has money. So in the moment says, listen, I don't want to cause trouble. I don't like being, accused of things. I just want it to end, right? This is an admission of anything. But from Garrett's perspective, being a guy who makes millions and millions of dollars at this game, I find it kind of outrageous that he took that money after running it twice. Because listen, he could have won the hand. If he would have won the hand, would he have given her the money back?
No.
I don't think so. So he's making an accusation, which, again, as you said previously, very serious to call someone a cheater at poker. And if you do so, you must have the receipts and you must have the evidence. And if you don't, you need to just shut up.
I agree, Daniel, but I don't think he's going to give the money back. And I think this this guy, Garrett Adelstein, who you know very well, he's had a pretty good reputation around the game. I haven't heard too many people say bad things about him. In my personal opinion, from an outsider, I don't know the guy at all. to me, this tarnishes his reputation if he doesn't give the money back. He should do the right thing. He lost, about a little over $130,000, which is a lot of money to a lot of people. Probably a lot of money to him, too, but the guy makes a lot of money. He's going to be just fine.
Not a lot of money to him. Not a lot of money to him.
So why doesn't he give it back then?
Well, because, listen, here's what we know for sure. He is convinced, without a doubt, that she cheated, okay? So you have to give that some thought. This is an experienced player who's been playing a long time, and he's convinced in this situation that she cheated. So possibly, listen, we have to be open to the possibility that maybe he does have other information that has not been public yet. So I don't think at this point, I think what will likely happen is he will wait until the investigation's done. If nothing's found and it seems pretty clear that, there's no way to prove it, it's possible that he will give the money back. I don't think because listen, if I was in that hand, first thing I would think is something's up here. This doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So I don't blame him for that. What I do think, as we said, is I don't think it makes sense that he has that money in his pocket right now.
Cooler heads should prevail. I think he knows. Personally, I think he knows that she didn't cheat. That's just my personal opinion.
No. That's insane. No way. No. See,
but he has no evidence.
No way
there's no evidence.
No, but you're saying that Garrett's just lying? No. Garrett 100% believes she cheated.
You don't think it's ego? You don't think it's ego with him?
Listen, whatever it is, you're questioning whether or not he's telling the truth.
Yes, right? I am.
He's not. He is 100%. He believes that this happened. 100%. There's no way.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would she choose that hand? Why wouldn't she cheat against other players in big pots? It doesn't make any sense.
But what you're doing here is just inappropriate because you're essentially saying that he's lying. That's not the case. He could be wrong that she cheated. He could be right also. He's very convinced based on his, her reactions and all these types of things that she did cheat. And he could be right, okay? He's very, very confident that he is. There's no chance in hell he's just pretending and lying, and he doesn't think she cheated.
All right,
he would never do this.
I'll take your word on that. Obviously, he's a very intelligent guy and a very skilled poker player. I find it hard to believe that he can't just come up in his mind, you know what, she's not a good poker player. She played the hand like a clown. But I guess let me ask you this. You've been doing this for a very long time at the highest level. Have you ever been in a hand or hands where you actually thought that your opponent was cheating against you, and can you tell us when and where that happened?
Listen, when I started as a teenager, I played in underground clubs with these Italians, and I knew they were cheating, and I didn't care because I knew how they were cheating, so I knew I could beat them anyway. So I just allowed it, right? Since I've seen a lot of crazy hands. I've seen, most importantly, a lot of amateurs and novices try to justify or explain why they did something and make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Right? Like one of the ways that I teach poker is I have someone play a hand and I say, okay, why did you do that? And then they'll say, well, I was trapping. I was trying to suck him in. It's like, but you were the last act and you checked. And then their story changes. And then there's like, oh, yeah, no, because I thought he might have a better hand than me. Wait, you just thought you said you were trapping. So this happens all the time with amateurs. So I think because people are really diving into this. This is the most controversial hand in poker history, period. And people are diving in not only for it was on Inside Edition. I mean, this hand has gone viral. It's all over the news. People questioning while she twirled a ring in her finger. Did she get a buzz? All these types of things. And listen, I think it's important to be open to possibility here. I am in the camp of fairly convinced that she didn't, but not completely. Like, do I think it's possible that, when he looked at his cards, she may have seen them? That's possible too.
Is that cheating though? Possible. That's not cheating, is it?
Yes, it is.
Wait, hold on. If somebody exposes their cards and you're not intentionally looking, but you get a glimpse of their cards in the middle of a huge pot, I can tell you if that was me, I wouldn't consider that cheating. I would use that information because they're not protecting their whole cards, and that's not my problem. How is that cheating?
Well, what becomes cheating is if after the fact, you say, I didn't see nobody's cards. I didn't do anything. Not divulging the information that you saw someone's cards is considered like unethical and would be cheating. Like if you sat next to me and you constantly lift your cards and I can see them and I don't tell you about it, I'm now cheating the rest of the table. Absolutely cheating because I know information that nobody else has because this player is lifting their cards. That's
understood, cheating. But I think there are different levels, right? There's that level and then there's the
level
of...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think there's like there's a much better chance that happened where she may have seen a card or whatever.
Yep.
And I don't think, but here's the thing, this idea of a cheating device, I think this one has a lot of holes in it because you would think that over the 3 streams that she played, countless hours, we would have evidence of other hands that look really suspicious.
Let me ask
now,
you a question.
There is one thing she was doing. There is one thing she's doing that I want to look at.
Yep.
That apparently she's been raising the turn a lot. throughout, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see through all the evidence when the people comb through it, is every time she does it, does she have the best hand? If that's the case, that she always has the best hand when she raises the turn, now that becomes suspicious.
That's a
but
fair
if not,
point. Fair point. I see what you're saying. That's a fair point. Let me ask you another question. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, and by the way, I don't think this happened either, but let's just say she accidentally saw his hole cards. He exposed, which, by the way, I don't think he's doing that in any hand. I guess it's possible. Let's just say that happened and she saw the cards and she didn't say anything. Do you believe that she, a player like her or anybody, should give the money back if that happens?
I think in a spot like that, the correct thing to do is this. Say, listen, I saw your hand. Okay, I saw what you have. What do you want to do? And he's like, well, you didn't see my hand. He's like, I saw you have 7-8 of clubs. I can beat it right now, but it's like a flip. Do you want to just chop the pot right now? Right? Or I can just call and take your money. Because this sort of thing has happened in the past. I've seen this with two friends of mine, Phil Ivey and John Juand, in the past, where John did see his cards. And John said to him, he's like, listen, I saw your hand. What do you want to do? And so, they agreed to chop the pot. And that would be the most ethical way to handle that. Having said that, listen, you aren't obligated to. Like, if I sat next to you and you keep showing me your cards like a dummy, I can look at them. But just know that if you are doing that in a game with 7 or 8 other people, you have information that they don't, and that is cheating. Period.
Yeah, I guess there's intent there, and do you have intent or not? But it's always my opinion. I think you'll agree with me. That is the player's responsibility to protect his or her hole cards. And if you're not protecting it, then you're the moron. I also understand your point where if someone's seeing your hole cards, like John Juanda, who's a nice guy, that you tell the other person. I get both sides of that argument, I guess. I'm just more inclined to defend her, even if that was the case. You see what I'm saying? I'm more inclined to defend her and him accusing her of cheating. I know there's still a chance, and I get that. I just don't think she cheated. That's just my opinion. And until I see hard evidence that she cheated, I think she needs that money back. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, no, we agree there. Like, I definitely, first of all, I don't think she should have given him the money in the first place.
Right.
But I understand under the pressure why she might do that. Like I said earlier, how many times have we seen innocent people admit to crimes under interrogation because they just want it to stop? They just want it to be over.
Yeah.
And, listen, he's a big name in the game. She's there with the producers. Maybe she wants to keep playing in these games and thinks they're good and fun, and she's afraid that if she doesn't give the money back, she's in trouble. Because he said flat out, you've effed up, you're in big trouble. Like, you know what you did, right? So, like, I don't know, that's intimidating. And it's, here's the thing, too. Like, the one other thing we didn't touch on is this, okay? What I think happened is this. He's a bully at the table. He's a nice guy, but his playing style is very aggressive, and he can mess with your head, right? So I think what happened is she raised the turn saying, you know what, screw this bully. I'm going to get him, right? And then he went all in, and she's like, I don't know, I'm sick of being pushed over by this guy. Absolutely in a blur. Her brain not working at all, not even functioning and understanding that, like, okay, even if he's bluffing, you still have nothing. You can't win anyway, so you should fold. So I think she made a dumb play, a really bonehead play.
Agree.
And then when she got caught, making this play, he starts interrogating her. She feels threatened and attacked, so she starts making these ridiculous justifications that make absolutely no sense. But they're in line exactly with what I hear novice players say all the time when they're defending their plays.
Daniel, I think you nailed it. I agree with you 100%. I think that's exactly what happened. And Adelstein, in my opinion, if there's no evidence of cheating and the casino finds no evidence, which I believe they will find no evidence, then he should give the money back. If not, I think it tarnishes his reputation. That's my personal opinion. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Last question. We only got a couple minutes. Is this good or bad for poker, right? You have the good, which is controversy. I guess a lot of people that are not even really into poker that much are talking about this. Everybody's talking about it. But then bad, because it's kind of a controversy. When we talk about cheating, that's not good for poker either. Is this good or bad for poker?
Yeah, I'm going heavily bad. Let's assume for a second she's innocent, all right? Let's assume she's innocent. We have a woman, an attractive woman, playing for high-stakes poker that is now being berated, analyzed, mocked, accused of being cheated. People are zooming into her yoga pants to see what's in her pants, checking out her ring, talking about her relationship with another player at the table and cheating. She's been, like, in a lot of ways humiliated, right? So we talk about bringing more women into poker. This is a really bad example in that regard. So overall, I don't think when poker being talked about in the mainstream, it being talked about is, with cheating and stuff like that, I don't see how that's a plus.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a negative.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you on this one. This is not good for poker, and I hope they sort it out. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Danny, we didn't even get a chance to talk VGK hockey. Let's get you on maybe next week, depending on your schedule, and talk a little hockey as the season approaches. Always appreciate it when you come on and your perspective, my friend. Good to see you. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll catch you next week, okay?
All right, bud. Have a good one. Appreciate
that. That's Danny Negreanu, Real Kid Poker. There's no other opinion probably I'd respect more in poker than his. He's always honest.